An easy do-it-yourself project is changing a deadbolt. And the one thing you need to know before going to the store is the depth from the edge of the door to the center of this hole, whether it's 2 3/8 or 2 3/4. If you're in a community where you have an older hardware store and they don't have a big selection, they may only have deadbolts with one of those back sets. Most companies produce deadbolts that have an adjustable back set, so just look at the packaging. So once you know your depth, another thing you can do at the hardware store is if you're just changing the deadbolt, you can also have them rekey this, bring your key in for the entrance lock, and they can rekey it so you have one key for both. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take a Phillips screwdriver. Most of these are going to be Phillips screws, and remove the 2 screws on the inside of the door. Once the 2 screws are removed, it's very easy just to pull off the plate on one side of the door, and then we'll be able to pull the body off the other side of the door. And now what we're going to do is just remove 2 screws on the latch holding it to the door. Now that you have 2 screws out, it's very easy just to pull the latch right out of the door. And putting the new latch in is very easy, and this one has an adjustable back set that just spins to adjust it to whatever depth you have, and it's marked with an up, so it has to be positioned with this side facing up. And we just tuck it into the door, and then we're going to attach it with 2 screws. Now putting this, we're going to make sure we have the key part of the lock on the outside of the door. There's a flat side to this metal bar that turns the latch, and so we need to make sure it's set in correctly. And then we're just going to line up. Now this one shows a top to this. We're going to have to spin this till it sets into that rod, and now all we do is first check it to make sure it's turning properly. And now we're just going to put our 2 screws in here and tighten it up. And we want to make sure that this isn't too high or too low because it'll put pressure on the latch. We want to make sure it's centered, and then we'll tighten the 2 screws. So the new deadbolt's in, looks great, works well. The one thing that the previous owner did not do was put a metal strike plate here. And what I'm going to do is just quickly cut this out with a chisel, and we're going to set this in. Now if I left this on the outside, surface mounted like this, it would actually rub and catch. And in some cases you can get by with this, but I'm going to mark the outside of this with a pencil. I'm going to center it where I know the latch is hitting here, and then we'll use a chisel to inset it. So once you have your outline in the door, I'm just going to take the chisel and I'm going to create an outline with the chisel. And I'm just going to make a mark all the way around. And then I'm going to work it down and remove I'm going to remove the wood just a little bit at a time so I don't remove too much. So I'll just work it from both sides, just removing a small amount at a time. Using a 1-inch chisel, I just removed enough for the depth for the strike plate, and it's going to fit in there real nice. We'll put in 2 screws and that'll finish the project.